Hello and welcome back to another One Piece video. So today finally we got to starter deck 28 and we got green yellow Yamato for you. So Yamato definitely got buffed thanks to the starter decks with the form of in the form of Izo and the new Momonosuke, being able to rush down your opponent a lot more efficiently, especially since Izo basically giving you 8 copies of Onami, and then her secondary ability being able to turn into a blocker if you use or if you give her 2 Dawn. So she's definitely a great addition to the deck, and then also just having the 1-drop Yamato to search your deck is super nice as well. So I decided not to play the 1-drop Momonosuke, like the searcher, just because using 2 Dawn to search through your deck, I felt like it was just a little too slow for what the deck was trying to do. You're trying to rush down your opponent before they reach top end and able to develop their blockers as well. So I tried to keep this deck as low to the ground as possible. So as you can see, a lot of our bodies are between like 2 to 4. Obviously we have the 4 of the new Momonosuke being able to help aggro your opponent a lot faster, and then the 4 Hody Jones. But other than that, I decided to keep in Tonoyasu here just because he's able to help you with your second Dawn or your going second matchups. Like whenever anyone sees Yamato, if you lose the coin flip, you're going second. So he's able to help you develop something on your 2 Dawn turn, and then the following turn, because you have 8 Onamis again, he's gonna help you pressure life and be able to banish it. So that's pretty much it for the deck list. Let's just hop over to some gameplay and then I'll show you guys how this deck runs. Okay, so first game, we're just gonna be going up against purple black Luffy here. So PB Luffy obviously is getting a lot more popular, especially with the starter decks that came out. And honestly, he might be a contender for the best deck in format now, because him being able to pump himself up to a 7k leader thanks to the SR Luffy that came out, it's just really hard to power through that, especially with him having access to stuff like Gum Gum. And so here we are able to develop the Tononosuke here, and then pressuring him with the 8k swing, and then just putting down the Kiku Nojo so that we can pressure him in later turns as well. So on his 6 Dawn turn, just dropping down the Zoro here. We're lucky that he didn't have the SR Luffy, because if he had that developed, it's going to be really hard for us to slam through his life, right? So instead he plays down the Zoro and then the Frankie coming down as well to develop a blocker. So that is going to be a little troublesome for us, but I'm not too worried because we have the Hody Jones and we have the Momonosuke here. And so I attached 2 to Kiku, swinging in 8, just trying to keep up as much pressure as possible. And then I believe we just used the Momonosuke effect to take that 2 Dawn back, and then swinging in with another 8 at lead here. And then finally the 5k swing with our leader. Probably should have led with this, but I don't think it would have changed anything. So we were able to eat a 2k out of that, so that's super nice. Yeah, and then next turn, unless he puts up like a blocker and a Gum Gum, we should be able to push really heavily here, especially since he gave us a 2k for a minimum swing. Leads me to believe that he doesn't have like too much counter to work with, or he's just like obviously just has like a bunch of 2ks, right? So going into his 8 Dawn turn, I believe, he decides to play down another Frankie. I think he's really afraid of dying here. And then with 5 Dawn to work with, he might be able to put down like another Frankie if he has another one. Or he might just use his Dawn to swing into our board here. So that's what he does. He swings 9 at 7. I probably just counter out of this one with the Kinemon, I believe, and then the Izo. But the 3-drop Izo, correct? Yeah, just because with 1 Dawn attached to his leader, he would have pumped the Frankie up to 5 cost anyways to play around her, but I kind of played myself because he didn't even do that. But with only 1 Dawn up and 1 Frankie up, we're able to use Hody Jones here. And then thanks to the Momonosuke, we're able to cheat out another 8k swing at him as well. Yeah, so here I think it's just 788, and then he's kind of just forced to counter out at this point, right? So we're able to eat a 2 and a 1 there, and then at this point, if he has 4 2Ks left over, then yeah, he has the game. But luckily for us, he didn't have enough counter. He was pretty bricked up with the Sanji and Pudding and the other 5-drop Sanji, and just not having the time to play his SR Luffy. So we were able to get a win from PB Luffy, and let's just hop over to the next game. Alright, so the next match we're going up against Purple Luffy, and definitely going to be one of our tougher matchups just because Purple Luffy, or any of the purple Luffy leaders, they have access to Gum Gum, and that's always a very scary card to go up against. But luckily for us, we have the Hody Jones in our starting hand, and we should be able to pressure him pretty hard here. Just because thanks to the Yamato, we're able to find ourselves an Izo, and then with the Tonoyasu, we should be able to pressure him pretty hard there as well. So I think I just start off with a 6k swing here, and then developing the Tonoyasu, just so next turn I could pop him and then obviously just banish for 8 instead, or banish for 10. So he ends up ripping his life here, which is good for us. Like, the more that he goes down, the more dangerous it gets for him, especially since we know that we have a Hody in hand here. So unlucky for us, he finds himself the God Thread, which is able to answer the Tonoyasu there. I think I give him a 2k here, just because most of these swings, if I can counter out a 1k or counter out with 1 card, I'm definitely going to do that. So just going to be using the Izo here, swinging in 8 with the banish, and then we were actually able to hit that. So that's really big for us, because the hardest thing about Luffy is being able to get his life early, because they do tend to run 12 2Ks, so on the higher end. And unluckily for him, he didn't see 2 2Ks early on here. So I believe instead of using the Rested Dawn offensively, I decided to save my Hody Jones. And so the 5k swing eats a 2k there, and then obviously the Hody Jones able to get a life there since the first 8 connected last turn. And then thanks to the Izo effect, she was our banished last turn, and then this turn she can be a blocker so that we can keep our Hody Jones safe here. So here he swings in 8 at the Hody Jones. I just give him a 1k. And then resting down the Izo here. Yeah, there's really no reason for us to defend that Izo there, right? So here we were able to get another Izo out of life, so that's really big. And I think at this point, I probably just load up the Izo and swing in at lead. Right, yeah, so we can just drop the Izo here, load up Yamato, and then swing at lead, and then use our leader ability to make Izo a blocker again next turn. So should be pretty straightforward here. Yeah, and the reason why this is really strong is because if I swing in 13 at lead here, or I guess 12 at lead, he would be forced to... Oh, he definitely should have Katakuri'd here. Instead of just raw countering, I guess. I don't know what his hand looks like, but maybe all he had for counter was the 2 Gum-Gums anyways. But yeah, we were able to strip a lot of counter out of his hand. And then looking at his Gum-Gum pitches, he pitched 2 bricks. So yeah, chances are that that Hitakori came from the Gum-Gum draws. Yeah, and then here it's pretty scary. Looking at his board here, he's able to find another God Thread, popping our Izo, and then swinging in 8 at our Hody Jones, eating a 1k there. And then he actually drops down the Zoro, not even gonna bluff the Gum-Gum at this point. I think he was just searching for any like 2Ks so that he can survive, but obviously this is the best turn for us to go in for a game. And yeah, he just scoops it up. So yeah, looking at his hand, I think he was just like super bricked up, and we were really lucky and were able to capitalize on that. So yeah, able to scrape a win out of Purple Luffy as well. Okay, so last game I got for you, we're going to be going up against Purple Yellow Pudding. And then, like I said, whenever they get the opportunity to go first, they're obviously going to take the first away from Yamato, especially since Pudding herself likes to go first just so she's able to ramp. But luckily for us, we were able to find a Tonoyasu into an Izo, so we can pre-play the Tonoyasu here. And then next turn, we should be able to pressure her life really hard with the Izo banish. So here, swings in 5 at lead. I believe we just counter out of this one. Actually, we actually end up taking it. I think my reasoning behind that was Pudding obviously hates to get banished. And so... yeah, and so if we're able to connect our upcoming swings, she won't be able to really answer, especially since we see the Lin on top. I just want to make sure that we're able to banish that so that she's not able to play it on Tendon. But luckily for her, she is able to counter out of the 7k swing here, finding the 0 cost event. And then also unlucky for us, she was able to find the Zeus as well last turn. And so our Tonoyasu didn't really get to get us any value. But at least essentially he was able to rip a life for us, since the Zeus needed to take a life in order to get him off the board. Yeah, I decided to keep the pressure on here. So I banish again, swinging in 9 at his lead, and then giving the rested Don to our Izo now that he's at 3 life. But yeah, luckily the Pudding was able to find so many 2Ks early on. He's still hanging on to that Lin here. So I think the 8k swing I decided to take, really not a big deal. And then the 6k swing, we're just going to be giving him, or maybe take this as well, yeah. Just because if I give him 2 2Ks, it's just going to really give him the green light to start pressuring our life really hard. And then the 7k swing, I believe here's when we finally block. And then yeah, dropping down the Viola makes it really hard for us to really pressure life here. So probably just going to be swinging into the Zeus here with the Onami. Yep, so we were able to do that. And then I imagine we swing 9-9 into the Katakuri here, just to slow down the game a little bit, right? Yeah, because if I swing into his life and give him that Lin, game's pretty much over. And so I do like this play. I took the chance and swung 2 8Ks into the Katakuri just because he did give us a lot of 2K counters early on. And so we were really preying on the fact that he wasn't able to defend anymore. And that really paid off. And instead of developing the Izo, I wanted to play down the Yamato because 1, she's able to give us a search. And then 2, the Izo is going to help us banish the last 2 life here. And even if she drops something like a Katakuri, we should be able to live through that because she can only then swing 5 this turn. But swinging an 8K at lead, I think we just decided to take this one. Obviously not triggering, just saving that for the counter. And then with only 5 Dawn up, she decides to pressure board here, getting rid of the Onami. So I do not mind that at all. But obviously here, I believe we just put down the Izo and then swing 9 at lead. Or did I swing 6 at lead here? I forgot if he revealed that he searched a brick or not here. But yeah, swinging in 6 at lead. And obviously, yeah, at this point, we just attach all the Dawn to the Yamato, and he won't be able to counter. So yeah, I think he revealed that he drew the Lin last turn, and so yeah, and so he would only have either a 1K or a 2K. And again, since he used so much, like so many 2Ks early on, I was just banking on the fact that he didn't have that last one. So yeah, that really paid off. I think if he were to counter, then obviously we would just continue playing it slow and then blockering up with the Izo, and then just next turn being able to kill him with the Onami still in our hand. So yeah, that's basically it. I think Yamato is not in a great spot, to be honest. She is a really fun deck, don't get me wrong, but in terms of consistency and how strong she is into the meta, I just don't think that she's quite there yet, even with these starter deck buffs. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.